Right. So I don't know if you understood that, but we are in a big cemetery. A huge cemetery, the whole mountainside, almost from the top all the way to the bottom, is one big cemetery. It's also an ancient cemetery. The first tombs go back more than 3,000 years ago. And today still people are buried here. Today it's a little problem, not enough room. You need to have your place decades ago, or to have a lot of money. I'm not sure even that will hold. Most of this hillside is a Jewish cemetery. The Jews are burying the dead here for the last 3,000 years, basically. And again, most of it is way newer, but Jews are always burying their dead on the slopes of Mount of Olives. This area is a privately owned by the church, Catholic Church, and there is a small church right there that we will see in a minute. But when they, in the modern times, when the Catholics here decided to build the modern church, they made some archaeological diggings, and they found tombs here that goes back almost 2,000 years ago, 1st, 2nd centuries AD. They are Jewish tombs, and they are very interesting and unique, not because of how they look like, because they're very typical tombs to those days, but because of other things. First of all, it's very hard to see it from here, but you have to understand, we are on a hillside. There were many caves that people turned to tombs, because they're burying dead people inside caves. A cave is usually a family tomb for the whole family, for generations. The way it was made was they made the caves. We will see that later in time. We'll see when. In other sites and areas in Jerusalem, you dig part of the cave, make it a little wider, and you make room to lay bodies. Usually 2 or 3 areas to lay a dead person. There's one entrance to the cave, and there is a rolling stone on the side. When someone in the family died, you come into the cave, you place the body, come out, and roll the stone, closing the entrance. Why you close the entrance?
And keep animals out.
And keep the big wild animals. You don't want the small ones. But the big ones are left out. After a year, the family will come back to the tomb, unroll the stone, go in, what you have inside? Skeleton, only bones, right? So, they collected the bones into these clay boxes, which you can see. These little clay boxes. These are always just exactly as big as our whole skeleton, including the longest bone. It's as long as the longest bone in the body. And you can basically collect the bones and put them all in one box. You leave the box in the tomb area, but it made room for another dead body. In this way, one family can use the same cave again and again and again and again for generations. So we have plenty of tombs like that all over the land of Israel. This is not unique. What's unique about these ones is that they found what seems to be very early Christian symbols on this. If you come closer, you can see on the stone up there something that looks like a cross. You see? It's kind of like a P letter that is a cross. This is a very early Christian symbol right there. And due to that one and a few others that were found right here in this area, they believe that maybe this place was the area that the first Jews that followed Jesus were burying the dead. The first Christian, Judo-Christian community of Jerusalem used this section to bury their own dead. Maybe. There's no proof, but maybe. Why not? So that's a bit about this particular burial place right here.
By the way, well, just real quick, some of you may have heard of the James ossuary. The ossuary is the bone box. The James ossuary was one that came to light 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, something like that. The debate is whether, maybe it's 5. The debate is whether it is legitimate or not, or whether it was a forgery. They're still debating it. I mean, it's even in the courts as to whether or not the guy who brought it to light should be prosecuted. Actually, I think it was thrown out of court, wasn't it? Did they throw the case out of court last year? They decided there wasn't enough evidence to convict.
You cannot decide neither.
Right. So anyway, it's still debated, but that's when we're talking about an ossuary, the one that has James, brother of Jesus, written on the side. That's what we're talking about.
Where did they find that one?
Don't know. Where did they find the James ossuary?